we're asked to consider the following reaction. And then in that reaction mixture, we find out that we started with only the product, and it gives us the concentration. Ultimately, we need to find the equilibrium concentrations. Well, since we are looking for equilibrium concentrations, we are going to have to use the Rice method. And if you recall, we have R-I-C-E. So we first want to write down the reaction. So I'm going to rewrite the reaction from above. Make sure you copy it exactly. And then once you've done that, we need to determine what are the initial concentrations. Well, what did it tell us? It told us that the only thing we started with was the NO. So the NO was 0.0100. It said we didn't have any N2 and we didn't have any O2. Now, what about the change? Now, remember, it doesn't tell us how much it changed, so we're going to have to use the moles. So if it's on the left-hand side, remember it's a plus sign, so this is plus X because there's 1 mole of it. This is plus X because there's 1 mole of it. Now if it's plus over here, remember it's minus on the right. Now we have how many moles of N2? We have 2, so minus 2X. So then at equilibrium I have X, X, and then I have 0.0100 minus 2X. So now you know we're going to have to use the quadratic formula, which everybody loves, in order to do this problem. So first we need to get started and figure out what is K sub C. So K sub C is what? Well, it's going to be the products over the reactants. So that's going to equal to NO squared over the concentration of N2 times the concentration of O2. Remember, they don't have any superscripts because their coefficients are 1. Now I need to plug in the stuff from E, the equilibrium, into this formula. So that's going to give me 0.0100 minus 2X squared over X times X. So far so good, right? So I'm going to expand the top, so I'm going to multiply it by itself. I'm going to go ahead and write that step out, especially for those of you that are visual learners that are using this. So I've got the first term, and then I'm going to rewrite that term. So 0.0100 minus 2X all over X squared. So either you pause the video or you're just miraculously seeing the answer, whichever. It's great. So I used the FOIL method over here on the top, and then I combined like terms and I simplified. Now KC was over here, that was given to us, so I just basically skipped the basic arithmetic since that is a prerequisite for this course. So now I need to label A, B, and C. Now I wrote it in backwards order because I wrote it in the order in which it came out. So remember, A goes with the X squared, so A equals, and everything in front of that's going to be 3.945, and then I've got B. Now don't forget to carry the sign, so it's going to be negative 0.04, and then C is going to equal to 0.000100. So now what you need to do is you need to plug that into the quadratic equation. What is the quadratic equation? Remember, that's X equals minus B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Now it's important that you get the math correct, so I want you to try that, come back and check your answer. So here you see I've added everything in that corresponds to the letters, and then I've simplified in the next step. Now make sure you don't do any rounding until you get to the very end of the problem, because if you do, you might end up getting the wrong answer. So I've got this now. If I take this number plus the second number, it's still going to be positive. But if I take the first number minus the second number, I'm going to have a negative on top, right? Does it matter? Well, sure it does, because I can't have a negative concentration. So we know that from that we can't use the negative. So this one right here we can't use, so we're just going to add them up and divide. So I'm going to do that. Again, I want you to check your answer, see if you get the right thing. When I do the division, I get 0.0044752232. Now, we want significant figures. I've got 2, and then I've got 3. So the only one that was actually given to us that was not part of the reaction was the 3. If you use 2 and you're in my class, I would give you partial credit for that because it does look like 2 significant figures would work. So let's go with the 3 just because that's the only thing that was given to us. And this will give me 0.00448. Okay, now that's the value of x. Remember, so this is what x equals. Well, what did x equal in the problem? Well, that was my concentration of N2 and O2, so I can write that as the concentration of N2 is going to equal to 0.00448. Make sure you put the molar on there. And we know that the concentration of O2 is also the same. So I'm going to write that as well. Now, once you have that, what are we missing? Well, we're missing the concentration of the 2NO, except you don't write the 2, sorry about that. We're just writing the concentration of the NO, and we know that it is 0.0100 minus 2x. So I'm going to take 0.0100 minus 2 times my x value, and you should obtain 0.00104 molar. So as you notice, these RICE problems can be extremely long, but it's very important that you check your math all the way through.